Project Astrology. I'm Nina.
I'm Shaina.
And this is the 12th house in astrology. We are in the home stretch.
I never thought we'd make it to this day.
Wow.
And neither did you.
We're not there yet, but we just survive a little longer.
We'll make it through. We'll make it through the wilderness.
But anyway, this is the 12th house in astrology.
Merry Christmas. How cute. Go like this so they can see. Cute, right?
Merry Christmas.
We're coming to you on my phone because we forgot to mention something very important.
If you are quite familiar with our channel, you know our friend Aunt Powell. He's a Sagittarius rising, and we've worked with him before, and he has a show called Hi from Friends, and we were just featured on the very special Halloween episode. It's very fun. We talk about astrology, we talk about other things, we get a little personal. If you care more about, you know, who Nina and Shaina are in real life, go check it out. The link will be in the description.
We gave it 5-star review on Yelp.
Yes, it was a fantastic experience. On to the rest of the video. If you want to know what's happening in your 12th house, you can check out our blog post that is live on our website right now, partytrickastrology.com, to see a breakdown of all of the house cusp rulers. If you have planets in the 12th house, stay tuned for our 12th house planetary placements video. But this video will just be shedding some light on what the 12th house means in astrology.
Readings are in stock for 2020, so you can check those out. Our astrology course is still in stock, which will be starting super soon. Yay!
Yes. This has been a very long series. Check out all the other videos from it.
We've now got all of them up, so if you're ever wondering, if you ever wake up in the middle of the night like, I don't think I fully understand my 6th house.
Don't you worry. That was the first marker of this series of when they started getting real
That
long.
was.
The 12th house is the last house. But is it though? Because the whole thing is a circle.
It's a circle, it never ends.
And it is also a cadent house. Cadent means leading into the next angular house. So it's a little different of how we got to the 12th house. Did we start at the 12th house? The chickpea or the turmeric egg? Right.
Yeah, exactly, that's it. The 12th house, as much as it represents like the last segment of life, it also represents before your life comes to be. It also represents the womb, which we'll go more into later.
Or
And
life in the womb. Prenatal life.
Yes. So technically, is the 12th house the first house?
I mean,
A conspiracy theory.
The chickpea or the turmeric egg.
Shane Dawson will cover a 9-part docu-series about this.
I think this series is our Shane Dawson docu-series.
It is. And our astrology course is the ballot with all the controversy.
Serves them right for releasing something on Mercury retrograde.
I know, right? What a bunch of idiots.
I know, Astrology 101 is Mercury retrograde.
I know, yes.
How does the circle come about?
Yes.
First, you're born. Debatably. Sorry, I'm gonna stop with this conspiracy. Then you begin to develop object permanence and possessions, materials. You attach to your teddy bear, that's the 2nd house. 3rd house, go off to school. 4th house, come home from school. 5th house, explore your creativity through after-school activities. 6th house, get down to business, create a routine, figure out your health, stuff like that, go to work. 7th house, reflect on your shadow side, develop interpersonal relationships, marriage, all that. Once you're married, you get into the 8th house, the marriage bed, when to become one. And then, once you're done with that existentialism, you search to a higher power to cope with that. The 9th house, beliefs, higher education, travel. Then, with that nice chunky degree that you get from your higher education,
Kick-ass degree.
you get a job from that. The 10th house, house of career and public persona. Depending on what your status ends up being from the 10th house informs the network that you surround yourself with, the 11th house.
You know, you kind of start out here with the 1st house, and each house kind of expands more and more. And the 11th house, we mentioned it being so big, and it's your dreams, and it's basically as big as you can go in this world. So what's after as big as you can go in this world? It's out of this world. It's everything that's not in the conscious. It's the subconscious. It's taking that whole whole expansion and expanding it even farther to realms and things that we don't know and will never know about.
Yes, it's a very spiritual house. It is the house that is ruled by Pisces, so it has a very Piscean rep to it.
Yeah, Neptune.
Yes, which means artisticness, psychic gifts, spirituality, escapism, drugs, sleep. Let's go through some of the names that the 12th house has. The house of self-undoing, the house of soulmates and enemies,
hidden enemies,
subconscious.
The subconscious. It's really pegged in astrology as like a scary, bad house. Like, oh no, like the worst thing in the world would be to have like your sun in the 12th house.
Oh my god. Well, there's a big feud going on between the 8th and the 12th.
That's true.
Which one's the scariest?
They're always gonna
comment down below which one do you think's the scariest.
And I like how you said earlier, you said artisticness. And I was like, that's such a Pisces 12th house word to use.
It's not of this world. It's not of the Merriam-Webster vocabulary.
Anything in the 12th house has been booted out of all the 11th houses. Take any planet or take even the sign, and it's going through it, it's traveling, and it goes, oh, not here, I don't need this. This isn't where I fit, I don't need this, I have this, I'm fine here, I'm fine here. And if it lands in the 12th house, or whatever sign you have trapped in the 12th house, it didn't have any other place to go. And so these are the things within us that are very hard to connect with, and they can be very strong energies within us, but it's very subdued and pressed down upon.
It is ultimately the subest of the subconscious.
The superconscious.
The superconscious. Not of this world. So that's why it has this correlation to artisticness. And that's why it has this correlation to drugs. The reason that some people are attracted to drugs is this idea of expanding their consciousness.
Right, going into a different world.
Yes, a different dimension, seeing things that are not of this physical plane. And that's all stuff that's happening in the 12th house. And then our artistry. You hear this phrase in the spiritual community a lot, divine downloads, reaching inspiration and bringing what is in the ether and not tangible into something tangible.
Going back a little bit, I mentioned that a lot of astrologers or people that follow astrology peg it as a very scary, bad house. I think that's an absolutely absurd thing to say, especially coming from people who follow astrology, because if anything, nothing holds more strength and power than the 12th house, because it's limitless. It rules spirituality, so it rules getting on kind of like a different vibration, different plane.
It's about going deeper.
Yeah.
The more you open your eyes, the more you see your 12th house. And that's why it can be difficult to have things in the 12th house, because you really need to open your eyes and get in touch in order to get in touch with that energy. Whatever you have in the 12th house, it's not like it's intercepted. It's not like it's repressed from you. It's not like you don't have it by any means.
Right.
You very much have it, but it lives in your subconscious. So say you have Aries in the 12th house. Some people might think like, oh no, I have Aries in the 12th house. I'm not confident, I'm not assertive, I'm not this or that. You definitely are. It lives in your subconscious. And a lot of times we experience our 12th house more when we're on our own, when we've got our little heads on our pillows and we're trying to fall asleep, and suddenly our 12th house starts activating. When we're dreaming, that's us living in our 12th house. And people who perhaps hold an interception in their 12th house might not be as connected to their dreams. People who have a lot of energy in the 12th house might dream a lot.
Psychic dreams.
Yeah.
Because this is a very heavily psychic, intuitive house, and it gives you a lot of gifts into the unknown. This house rules seclusion. And the most practical way that you can access your 12th house is when you're in seclusion, because it also rules confined kind of areas like jails and institutions, like not institutions in the 11th house sense, but like mental health institutions, because it's also the house that rules mental health issues and kind of like a lot of schizophrenia, because what is schizophrenia but, you know, seeing and hearing things that aren't there, but they're in your subconscious. And the whole thing with the 12th house is that you can't confirm or deny it. You can't say, oh yes, that stuff is true that you're seeing, or no, that stuff is false, because it's all about that whole perception is reality thing. Yeah, and it's just not able to be proven through this world. It's not a tangible thing at all. Let's address
why this house is called the House of Self-Undoing.
Right.
Obviously, there's that correlation of escapism, and escapism can be through many things. A lot of times, people bring up drugs and escaping through that. Sometimes it's escaping through sleep.
Or
Sometimes
religion.
Sometimes a good book.
Yeah.
That you don't want to live in this world, you just want to read a nice book.
A Netflix series.
Yeah.
You got a lot of Gemini energy.
Binging in bed, just chilling out, right? But in not a self-care kind of way, because the 12th house is opposite of the 6th house.
Yes.
The 6th house is where you take care of your mental health. Where
Self-care.
Yeah, it's really self-care in all of the best ways. In fact, I have a bit of a theory of why self-care is so poorly marketed. It's because it's marketed through Hollywood, and Hollywood has a Libra rising. And so their 6th house is in Pisces. And for that reason, self-care is very much like, order yourself a pizza, have a face mask, and drink a glass of
Moon
wine.
in the 6th house in Aries. I was thinking about that recently too. It's so like that false idea of healthy, but like we're all like in yoga pants though.
Yeah.
You know? Like
Athleisure.
Libra rising, like we're all in yoga pants, but like nobody's actually treating their bodies well.
Right. So when the 6th house is about, getting your groceries done, riding your bike,
Daily things that take care of yourself and looking into the future.
Yeah, the 12th house is self-indulgence, self-undoing, escapism in that way. Just going too far down the rabbit hole. And it's self-undoing because the more you go down that rabbit hole that like you start circling the drain, the less connected you are to the physical, the less connected you are to the real world, the less connected you are to yourself and what's actually happening, and you're undoing yourself in order to favor something that's not real.
The 11th house is utopia, but the 12th house is like your complete fantasy indulgence world. It's like your happy place.
Yeah.
Like in your subconscious brain, like you can look at what your happy place would kind of be that you make up in your head by looking at your 12th house. The 12th house rules spirituality, and it's the last house, so it makes sense that most people that are in a spiritual phase of life are older. I actually just recently watched a video about this, whether or not people, when they're, 19 or 20, should be doing astrology readings, or whenever I go and get a spiritual service done, they're always like, you're so young, you're so ahead of whatever it is, just because you're here and you're 22, you know what I mean? The reason for that is because it's the last house of zodiac. Most people don't find it until they go through everything else, and it's kind of like they're shit out of luck. And they're like, okay, so what do we do when we're shit out of luck and we're grasping for something? A lot of people find religion or spirituality or something of that kind.
The chart is an entire journey. In every single video, we tell you about the journey that you go on. So the 12th house is the last house, but conspiracy theory time, right? It's a cadent house to the first house. Because it's a circle, it happens before the first house as well. If you're young and you are very attuned to spirituality, I know that I credit a lot of that to my South Node in Pisces. And the South Node has to do with past lives. The 12th house also has to do with prenatal life, that can be the womb, that can be past lives in general. It's also why it's the house that rules soulmates and hidden enemies. So essentially, there is the perspective of, oh, we went through this whole journey of life and now I've gotten to spirituality. Or it's, I was born with this really intuitive gift and it's transcended through my entire journey of life. In that case, you need to balance it out with more 6th house.
Also, if you think about the 12th house, it's the house of self-undoing, so it kind of is you going down that spiral. People with a lot of Pisces energy, people with 12th house energy, like kind of digging themselves into a hole, and they almost can feast off of getting to like the most ultimate loss of themselves as possible. And what do you do when you're at that lowest point? You find something that brings you up and you reinvent yourself, and you go right into the first house, and you go, I just went through this crazy whole journey all through the houses, stuck in the 12th house, and now I'm here, I'm reinventing myself, and we're restarting out fresh and new in the first house. Also, the 12th house rules karma. Huge thing. So past life karma, or if you don't believe in past life, just
karma that you're born with.
If you have a lot of stuff in the 12th house, if you just have something going on, or even like Chiron in the 12th house, this could be a situation where you feel like, I haven't done anything wrong in this life, like why do all these terrible things keep on coming to me, blah blah blah, getting all these undeserved things, and it can be because of just some other unworldly reason that maybe you did some shit in your fucking old life, and it's coming to haunt you now.
Right, the 8th house kind of karma is much more tangible, it's more psychological.
Yeah.
And so you can be like, oh, this, that, and the other. You can like kind of trace it down, detective it out.
Mm-hmm.
From the 12th house, it comes from some other world. It's much more spiritual karma than psychological karma.
Mm-hmm.
To elaborate more on why it's the house of soulmates and hidden enemies.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk a lot about synastry in this house series, but I guess it's relevant talking about it in the 12th house because of one of the names that it has.
Mm-hmm.
To have someone have a personal planet fall into your 12th house, it is one of the most extremely,
like,
there's no
yeah,
words.
no.
It's wow. It's really that kind of soulmate kind of feeling. I mean, you could even accredit it to knowing this person in previous lives, seeing them over and over again in other lifetimes. It's this recognition, it's this subconscious understanding of meeting another person, and to experience being with that person is like extremely spiritual and fulfilling. It can also be confusing because sometimes you're like, is this a hidden enemy or is this a soulmate?
Yeah, and you feel like you instantly have like a psychic connection with each other. They're bringing out your subconscious, your superconscious, and shining it and kind of showing it to you.
Mm-hmm.
The 12th house does have some of the similarities in the 7th house in the sense that it does feel like stuff needs to be kind of shown to you. Obviously, the 7th house is much more tangible than the 12th house, but it does have that similar thing of it does feel like somebody might have to unlock it.
Right, because it is a pretty hidden house.
An extremely hidden house,
Yes.
the most hidden house. The house of hidden enemies.
Yes.
Because it's that thing of, it's trapped in your subconscious, so what's in your 12th house can kind of be your evil a little bit. It can kind of go a little bit too far because it's kind of what's been ignored in you and what's been pushed down. If you think about a little kid, this is like a 12th house something that I'll probably mention again, but it's also just relevant. It's that energy of when a little kid is ignored and they're desperate for attention no matter what, so then they act out. You know, bad attention is at least attention. So that's what your 12th house sign or your planets in there can do. They'll, get ignored for so long that after a while they're like, fuck this, and I'll just act out crazy so that at least I'm shown and I'm seen and like people comment on me.
I'm not someone who promotes doing drugs, say in school kids, but I also promote free will. So if that's what you're into, I promote free will. But I'm going to use this example of LSD. LSD is this drug that a lot of people have positive experiences with, a lot of people have negative experiences with. It draws a parallel to the 12th house of whether you're going to unlock that really great spiritual experience or you're going to tap into kind of like the hidden enemy side of the 12th house. Because what LSD does is that it opens your mind, opens into your subconscious. So if you're in a positive mental state, if there isn't a lot of negative stuff being hidden, you'll see beautiful colors and have a great spiritual experience, or at least that's what's been reported to me. But if you have a lot of shit
going on locked away.
Yeah, that's locked away, you could be potentially opening a Pandora's box to very negative things. And that can happen with people falling into your 12th house. If you've got a lot of shit hidden around in there, they could be opening a Pandora's box to really negative things, or they could be opening this great spiritual experience and fulfillment for you. It all depends.
And that has to do with your karma as well. And then even in the sense of what you've done in this life that you haven't dealt with. Oh my god, we didn't mention that we're matching like fuck.
We don't have to.
We both put on our 12th house garbs today.
We did.
I mentioned that the 12th house is also mental health issues, and people with 12th house energy will attract a lot of people with mental health issues or have mental health issues themselves. I've always had this thing of being like, Pisces has got to rule clowns or the circus. And I just keep on finding more parallels. This is such a small thing, but it's on my mind a lot for some dumb reason. If you think about like when people go off to the circus, it's because they have nothing else. And so they run away and they say, I'm leaving this life behind and I'm going to the circus of freaks, of people that are out of this world, people that aren't understood. And then they dress up in these crazy Neptune outfits, and a lot of times like clowns put on like smiles. So it's like that Neptune like illusion, like I'm a happy person, I'm giving you all these illusions and these fun things. I'm also kind of getting rid of my own ego and making fun of myself to entertain you guys, which is a very like sun in the 12th house kind of Pisces.
Giving up yourself.
Giving up yourself. The circus is so dirty and nasty because nobody gives a shit about their hygiene. There's no 6th housers in the circus. Everybody's fucking 12th house. Everybody's nasty.
A lot of people have fear of clowns.
Yes, that's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was
Fear
going
of
to say.
the unknown.
Fear of clowns, and why does everybody have a fear of clowns? We don't know, but it's just this subconscious fear that people have. 12th house stuff, and serial killers are a lot of times have 12th house shit, and then they're, you know, sometimes they fucking dress up as clowns, and and then also just today, my friend showed me this dumb picture of this guy named Flip Flop the Clown, and he has a foot fetish. Pisces rules feet, and if we go with the fact that Pisces rules clowns, that just goes hand in hand.
Do you always hear like clown feet?
Yes.
Clown feet.
Clown feet.
Clown feet is the thing. These are 2 words that go together.
So Pisces rules clowns. It's done and done. The circus is all an illusion. Oh, and also, last thing, the 12th house actually rules big animals. The circus. 6th house rules small pets and your daily shit. 12th house rules giant lions and tigers and bears. So fucking that's why that stuff's in the circus. Just the 12th house.
Wow. Just wow.
People with Pisces energy dress up as clowns. Mm-hmm. Like they have they just, you know, lots of colors and lots of whatever, and it's Jupiter and Neptune is the 12th house, and that's what rules the 12th house. Jupiter and Neptune combined equals clowns. Big, crazy outfits, colorful. You're like, who are you? You don't know. Anyways, that's my long rant.
That was great. The 12th house is not a very tangible house. If you're wanting to figure out your 12th house and what's happening, especially if you're not a very 12th house person, if you're a very 12th house person, you're like, oh yeah, I'm in my 12th house when I'm binging this show with some shrooms or whatever. But your 12th house comes out and you kind of behave more of your 12th house when you're on your own, when you're kind of laying your head down on your pillow and drifting off into sleep or trying to fall asleep. If you have Gemini in the 12th house,
that's not gonna fucking happen.
Or when you're under a little bit of the influence.
Yeah, you'll see your 12th house act up.
Yeah. Here's just a little bit of an antidote. The 12th house also rules kind of where you might find your psychic gifts. I have Gemini in the 12th house. Shaina also has Gemini in the 12th house. I have nothing else going on in my 12th house. Shaina has her part of fortune in there. First of all, my brain works better when I'm alone. I also have Neptune conjunct Mercury, which I think emphasizes this feeling of Gemini in the 12th house.
Yeah.
And so I do a lot of automatic writing. I don't want to use too woojy words, but when I'm kind of needing to channel something, it comes out seamlessly when I'm just writing it out. That's a little bit of Neptune conjunct Mercury, but it's also Gemini, hands, writing, intellect, in the 12th house.
Flowing.
And so I will always write down a bunch of notes whenever we're doing a reading. It's not like I need to research the chart, but I just need to filter all of my thoughts and put it on something tangible. The only time that I feel as free to do a reading without doing that kind of automatic writing preparation is when I'm a little tipsy. It just flows out of me like that.
Party trick astrology.
I know. You will find yourself tapping more into your 12th house when you are tipsy. So it is very important to know about your 12th house to see what kind of issues you might have. Almost like what kind of drunk you might be.
Yeah.
If you have Mars in the 12th house, you might be the angry drunk. If you have Libra in the 12th house, you might be that lovey-dovey, I love everyone. If you have Sagittarius in the 12th house, you could wind the road down to alcoholism, and then you have Capricorn in the 1st house to, get you back on track.
Yeah.
And maybe if you're a Cancer rising and you're a little bit of a socially anxious person, you need a couple glasses of rosé in your system in order to get yourself going.
Feel all Gemini. Talk to people. Loosen
Feeling
up.
social.
Go back to our name. Our name is very much inspired by our 12th house. Also, like we mentioned, psychic gifts as well. Pisces in the 12th house is very intuitive. You just have psychic gifts, psychic dreams, and just naturally very easily tap into that stuff.
Cancer in the 12th house, you might be more clairsentient than anything.
Yes.
Be very intuitive.
Yeah,
Just
emotionally
very,
intuitive.
Emotionally intuitive.
Also, if you look at the combinations of the natural rulers, Libra risings with Virgo in the 12th house, well, me personally, I think Libra risings are not as discriminatory as they should be towards the people that they're around, towards the things that they like. That's why Virgo's in their 12th house, because they're not as selective, they're not picky enough. Or if you think about Capricorn risings, like we mentioned, Sagittarius is in their 12th house because they don't really know how to have fun. They're not really allowed to have fun much, so that's trapped away. You can't really let loose. And so all that stuff that's trapped, when you do let it out, that's why it can go way big, because you're like, I never get to let my Sag out, so I'm just gonna go fucking crazy because I'm a Capricorn rising who works all the time. Or like Cancer rising, like, I'm drunk, I'm just gonna chat to everyone ever and never shut up because all I do is think everything and never say it.
Cadent.
Yeah.
Which one's the first house? Really? We don't know.
The 12th house, as I mentioned, rules a lack of boundaries. So this is kind of where people will poke at you and go too far. Chiron in the 12th house is going to be very obvious. Like, people are going to tell you too much. They're going to instantly kind of reveal their life to you and get a little bit too deep. And you'll be like, hey, like, maybe this isn't the time because I'm in the middle of a math class right now that you shouldn't be telling me about, like, your dead dad. People with a lot of 12th house stuff have a lot of trouble setting up boundaries, and people will always push through them. And whatever's in your 12th house is kind of where people will test your boundaries and go a little bit too far. And just another little thing is, like, it makes sense that mental institutions have been so kind of neglected and poorly done in this world, because when people have mental health issues, what do? We lock them away. You know, 12th house people have mental health issues a lot of times, and so we're going to lock them away into these mental institutions and put them away from society. Out of sight, out of mind, 12th house, like, ha ha ha, they're not here. Those people are in a different world. We're going to overstep their boundaries as well. Where's the biggest violation of human rights but in mental health institutions? And that's because all the people are overstepping their boundaries because they feel a kind of right to them that they shouldn't, you know?
Homelessness also is a quite 12th house issue. First of all, the 12th house is like so not of this world. When you don't have a house, when you're just yourself on the streets, there's really
there's nothing to support you.
There's nothing to support you. It's also, people avert their eyes from homeless people and
you don't want to see them.
Don't want to acknowledge the problem. And a lot of times homelessness is linked to a lack of control in their life. That is a lot of times with drugs,
substance abuse.
Yeah.
And also it's one of those situations where it's like anybody can be in this position, and a lot of times those people were just born into those positions, and that's 12th house stuff. That's past life karma. It can feel like a very helpless house, because it's about giving yourself up. And so it can feel like you have no control over what's in your 12th house and the issues that are there.
You might have different opinions on this, but I think it's a logical thing to conclude that your entire life is based off of your karma, at least my perspective of life. So much of our life is by chance and can be even predestined by karma. So there's kind of an argument for the 12th house being the beginning, but it's also the end. It's a circle, the chickpea or the turmeric.
You can feel people with a lot of heavy 12th house energy. You know, it's very like hoo-ha, woo-woo. And that's kind of why, if you, at least for me, like watching a lot of people talk about astrology or spiritual things on YouTube, a lot of times people will be like, what the fuck are you trying to say? What the fuck are you trying to get across? You can be kind of like how we're being in this video, having trouble explaining things into the here and now because it's of a house that isn't an explainable house. Yeah. And I would like to emphasize again about spirituality, because this house can really be kind of like a master house that if you master what's in there, you can just go beyond anybody's wildest dreams of what you can do. And so that's why, like we've been mentioning, the 10th, 11th house, famous people, the 12th house, a lot of times people will have planets in there too, because you know, naturally kind of it's easier to have a clump kind of, you know, in astrology. And that's why these artists will do these things that it's like the unthinkable, or how did you even get there? Or, oh my gosh, just these divine interventions, or these performances and these costumes, these crazy things that are so unique and so creative. Is because a lot of famous people have stuff in their 12th house to where things are limitless to them. You know, people that aren't really living in the 12th house and that are confined by the rule, like by what they see, what they know, they'll be like, I can only wear a halter dress to the red carpet. But Lady Gaga was like,
can't you wear a bunch of stuffed animals stapled together?
That's a good outfit. That's a look.
I was in a yoga class this morning, and yoga is very much a 12th house meets 6th house kind of thing.
Oh, for sure.
But a lot of 12th houses in there. And she was talking about like, oh, sometimes I wish that I didn't even pull back the curtain on yoga. because once you pull back the curtain, it's like magical and amazing. It's like pulling back the curtain on Oz. But then you're really confronted with needing to live this life path of always searching to be your best self and doing the right thing and just doing what is just.
And mindfulness to the extreme.
Mindful. I was like there laying on the ground like, man, pulling back curtain is exactly what I needed to do.
Yeah.
I've got, Pisces South Node. For a lot of people, this sounds like so Aquarius God complex. For a lot of people, it's really hard. A lot of people, it's hard to confront pulling back that curtain and delving into mindfulness, delving into the subconscious. And that's why the 12th house can go one of two ways. It can go into eating an entire bag of chips in a sitting, watching a cult documentary, or it can go into living a very mindful, spiritual,
aware life. Because the 12th house is kind of not well liked unless it's within the confines of a religious structure that we're comfortable with. So a lot of times people with 12th house stuff that don't relate to a religion will go down a negative path because I don't know, just of kind of how things are set up. So it's unfortunate because I find that we see a lot more negative expressions of the 12th house and lower vibrations because these people are desperate for anything or desperate for any easy solution. And a lot of times those easy solutions wind up with like the hardest outcomes. Whereas it can be a really beautiful house. If you have stuff in the 12th house, it can be such a strong, strong gift. You just have to I think it's being aware of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why people with 12th house stuff a lot of times need astrology, and it's so, so, so incredibly helpful to them.
But again, you can meet your enemies going down this path. You can also meet your soulmates. No.
It's a house of a no. You never know what you're gonna get. It's like a little bingo thing. Like, ding, 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 there you go.
It's like Pandora's box in Big Brother, where it's like, it will be really good. It will be very bad. Will you pull back the curtain?
So comment down below, which came first, the
chickpea or the turmeric egg.
Next video will be the 12th house planetary placements video, and then we're done with the house series, which is super exciting. You'll see us in the next video if you watch it, which you should. Okay, check out that blog post if you're wondering about your house cusp ruler and all that stuff, but you could also always look to the ruling planet, like Gemini rules Mercury, so Mercury the 12th house might be a relation, you know what I mean? Okay, we've rambled on enough. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.